Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to today's webinar, Thursday, the 7th of May. Good to see everybody here. Thank you for joining. I'm joined today with my trusty sidekick, Josh. Josh is in here, so he'll be talking in a moment. Just waiting for everyone to get in. Welcome to today's webinar. Hello. Andrew, Trisha, Vince, good morning. Good morning, Calvin, Marie, Julianne, Steve, Mark. Good to see you all again today. Thank you very much. Thursday, 7th of May, so it's a bank holiday tomorrow, which means we are not here tomorrow. We don't have a webinar tomorrow, so the next one will be on Monday. So we will carry on Monday with some really good content coming for you next week. And we've got some special guests next week joining us as well. So do make sure to stay with us into next week. And answering a quick question already, do you repeat or do a different program at 2? We don't repeat or do anything different, unfortunately. I think it's Samari, so hopefully I'm pronouncing the name right. So we don't repeat this. It is just at 11 a.m. We do a slightly different webinar at 2 p.m., but that's for non-customers, and it is very different to this one. So just stick with this one at 11 a.m. and you'll get a recording of this as well as you are registered. So okay, so we're all good to go. Everything seems ready. So what I'm going to do is get started, and Josh, feel free to join in and say hello at any time.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. All good, Josh. Thanks for joining.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, thanks. You?
Good. Yeah, good, thank you.
Guys, if you're wondering, yes, this is the first time we've spoken this morning. So sometimes I don't get a chance to speak to Josh because there's so much for us to do to prepare for these webinars. So good to hear from Josh this morning as well. So yeah, we're good to go and we're ready to get started. I'm not going to spend too much on this. I'm just going to say, obviously, Google Premier Partner, Microsoft Elite Partner. Yorkshire's only as well. So if you didn't know already, then yes, we're at the highest level of partnership with Google and Microsoft. So today I'm focusing on Google and Bing a little bit more. So I'm looking at Google predominantly today and some Google tools that I'm going to show you. I'm going to look at the ads side of things as well. So more around the PPC, Google Ads, but some free tools as well on Google that I'll go into in a moment. Before I do that, though, I just wanted to highlight the consumer journey again. For those that haven't seen this, this is typically the journey that your consumers go through before they inquire with you, before they book or give you a call. It might not necessarily be in this order, but typically it's this kind of journey. So they start at the beginning with a search for something in somewhere. So, hotels, Leeds, plumbers, Manchester, etc., etc. So that's what we call the discovery stage of the journey. And then the consumer, once they've found a business that they think they like, they'll do a bit of research about that business. They'll go away, maybe speak to friends, family, look on social media, look at reviews, check out your brand, and then probably do a search on Google for your business name towards the end of the journey. But at the first point, it starts with a discovery search. So when they're looking for a type of service in a location, we're just focusing on local search here, but the same applies to national. So if you're a national business, you work across the UK, then it's very similar. It's just they're searching for a service, for example, I don't know, van hire, let's say, or I don't know, food. I can't think of a national company off the top of my head, but a national company that isn't a local based company. So they start with a service, or if it's local, they'll put the location in as well. And more people, by the way, are searching for service near me. So they're literally typing into Google near me. There's been a 900% increase in people searching on Google and Bing for near me. And so there's different types of searches that people do. Everyone searches differently now. 10 years ago, we could have said to you, well, we'll get you found for plumbers, or we'll get you found for solicitors, and that will do. You know, that one keyword 10 years ago, absolutely fine. You were there, first page, very simple. That's not the case anymore. And it goes to show on our keyword reports that so many more people now are typing in near me or the best of, the best. So, for example, the best plumber near me. Everybody searches differently. And the reason for that is because they're using different devices. So whether it's mobile phone, or whether it's desktop or tablet, or whether they're out and about in a rush or at work, it's all these different searches are very hard to get found for. So this is what we're going to try and tackle today. How do you get found for all of these different search types? But before we do anything, I just wanted to check in this time with SEO. We checked in yesterday with Google My Business. I just want to really check in quickly with the SEO, because this is the bit that also gets you found in the discovery stage. So the discovery stage, the bit at the start, basically. So if you've optimized your website, then hopefully you'll be getting found on the search engines. And just ticking off some of the essentials. Have you updated your titles? Have you checked your descriptions, your headings, your content, and your URLs? Those are the things that we've been covering over these last few webinars. So we've gone through all of that. And that's called on-site SEO, the things that you can do on your website. And by the way, this information that I'm giving you is, it's the industry secret. It's for example, if I wanted a kitchen redoing in my, and I said to a kitchen installer or kitchen designer, is there a way that I can do this myself? And he said, well, I shouldn't really be telling you this, but yeah, you can do this, this, and this, and you can do it for, £500 yourself. Well, what I'm telling you here is the industry secret. We're giving it all away for you for absolutely free. Why are we doing that? Because, well, it is an unprecedented time, and we want to prove that we're here for you, to support you and give you this information. And these bits that you can see on screen, these are the most important elements of search engine optimization. And businesses charge £1,000 a month just for this kind of stuff. So agencies that we know of charge hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds to do these things. Indeed, we have our own SEO service, but we feel it's very, very cost effective. It's it can be as low as £199. So it's a lot different to the £1,000 quotes that I see elsewhere. But effectively, this is what they're doing, is they're doing on-site SEO. Now I've been showing you how you can do this yourself. So hopefully that's really benefited a lot of people. And yes, this is the industry SEO. This is what people charge a lot of money for. And also, crucially, offsite SEO. Offsite SEO, which includes blogging, content marketing, PR, citation building, and backlinks. We've gone through all that in the previous webinars. And that was what we did around offsite SEO. And again, this is what agencies charge a lot of money for. And these are the things on screen. The elements you see on screen are the things that any agency does when it comes to SEO. So of course, yes, you can do it yourself. You can do all of this yourself. If time is money, though, then that is another story. Obviously, it's how many hours in a month have you got to be able to spend on this stuff. But these two things with SEO, the on-site and the off-site, is crucial for helping your website rank on Google and Bing. So you can do all this yourself, and we've shown you how to do that. I really hope some of that's been useful and valuable. Of course, we'd absolutely love to help you with that. So there's a lot of technical knowledge sometimes in this stuff, and there's a lot of time that goes into all of these things. And if you need us to do it for you, we are here, and we can do a full SEO offering from $199. So it's really, really cost effective. And how many hours would it take you to do that in a month? Well, I think the option's there. So if you wanted us to help you with that, we do SEO. So the option's there for you. But there you go. The other thing we wanted to talk to you about is something that, well, this is the most powerful digital marketing solution. This is the most powerful thing in our digital marketing experience and knowledge that you can do. And it is Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. Microsoft Ads used to be called Bing Ads. So Bing Ads have changed. It's changed name to Microsoft Ads. Another name for this is PPC or pay per click. So that's what it's sometimes referred to: pay per click, PPC. Search ads, paid ads, whatever you want to call it. It is effectively Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. It is by far and away the most powerful product that we've come across or we use when it comes to small to medium-sized businesses. And it's the thing that can really drive new inquiries. If done correctly, it can drive some serious amount of business to you. And I would suggest that May to June is a really good time to get started on this and start looking at this. If you're thinking this is going to cost a lot of money for you, no, it does not. Similar to what we talked about yesterday, the budget can be anything you want. So to run a Google and Microsoft Ads campaign, the budget can be as low as £50 to £50,000. It is completely down to you. But the good news is you can try small, test it out on a small level, and then build it up if it starts to work. And you can do it yourself. So we're going to show you a couple of things to consider today. Okay, so there's three elements, there's three things that you need to do. And this applies to all marketing, all online marketing, not just Google Ads, PPC. It applies to a lot of your marketing. The first thing I would always consider before you start paying for any advertising or doing any marketing yourself is, what is your goal? What do you want to drive more of? And we're going to talk about that in a second. What is it that you want more of? What is the goal? The second thing I would recommend is that you find the right keywords. You look for the keywords that are going to be working for you. And so we're going to show you how you can do that in a moment as well. And then final thing you need to make sure you do is measure the conversions, measure success. How can you measure success with all of these things? So what we're going to advise with that is that if you do any marketing or Google Ads or Microsoft Ads specifically, then make sure you have call tracking set up, phone call tracking, or form fill tracking. So for example, on your website, you'll have a contact form. Make sure you're tracking how many people fill in that form from the campaign that you've got running. Same for Facebook ads, same for anything you do. Make sure you're tracking how many people are filling in that form. How can you track how many people fill in the form? Well, you need to at least have Google Analytics on your website, installed on your website. That's a good starting point, to have Google Analytics. How can you measure how many people are calling you? Well, there's phone call tracking software out there. It's really cheap. It can be done, like I say, very low cost. And we can do that for you. If you want us to set up phone call tracking, we can do that. It's at most £25. So it's absolutely worth doing, though, because what it enables you to do is measure how many phone calls and conversions you're getting from all of the different places you're marketing. But let's start with the goal, because the goal is the most important thing. What do you want? Do you want to drive more website visitors? Do you want to drive more phone calls? Or do you want to increase more people to your coming into your business? So there's three options there. Those are the most common three options that you can choose. Along with what type of inquiry you want, you need to consider, what is the inquiry that you want to get more of. So, for example, let's just take the plumber example. If you're a plumber, you do general plumbing jobs, low value jobs all the time, and it takes up a lot of your time. You also install boilers, and you do heating engineering. But out of those all of those jobs, boiler installation might be your highest value job. So if you're a solicitor, immigration law might be your highest value job, or if you're a wedding photographer, a certain type of, a day of wedding photography, the whole day might be the more valuable job. So you need to choose which is the more valuable type of work, and do you want to get more of those kind of inquiries? Because with PPC, you can hone in and get more of those specific inquiries. So I was speaking to a painter and decorator the other week, and he was saying, well, I just do painting and decorating domestically. And I said, yeah, but what gets you the most? What's the most valuable job? And he couldn't even really answer that question. Just painting and decorating, any type of job. Well, and I said, what about commercial work? What if, for example, a local school, phoned you up and said, can you come in and do the painting for our school? And he said, well, yeah, that would be worth $1,000+. That is a lot of money if it's commercial. I said, well, there you go. You have got a type of work that you do that earns more money for you. You prefer to do that type of work than all of the other smaller jobs that you do. And what we did is we helped him set up a PPC campaign for commercial painting and decorating, and lo and behold, he had jobs coming in for commercial painting and decorating, and he is absolutely flying. And so you can really hone in with PPC on the type of work that you want to get more of. So have a think about what it is you want to get more of, and how do you want those inquiries? Is it website visits? Is it phone calls? Is it people visiting you? Is it form fills, etc.? Okay, so slightly wrong order there. Sorry, I just wanted to go to this one first. So we've looked at the goal setting. We've looked at how you can sort out your goal and decide what it is you want. But now what we need to think about is how you can choose the keywords. So what I'm going to do is show you how you can choose the right keywords for your business. Now, this also will help with SEO. It will help with any other online marketing that you do. Knowing what people are searching for is essential. So I'm going to show you how to do that yourself in a couple of seconds. And then finally, you saw it there. There we go. What's really important is measuring conversions. So once you've set up your campaign and once you've done all this, you need to track phone calls and conversions. So we'll be coming back to that in a minute. So let's just have a look at choosing the keywords, because choosing a goal might be quite easy for you, but choosing keywords might be a bit trickier. So I'm just going to go ahead and come off screen sharing for a second. And Josh, whilst you're there, is there any questions or anything you want to chip in with at the moment?
Yeah, so we've had some good questions. I responded to Robbie privately. I didn't mean to respond privately. I meant to respond in the chat. So Robbie asked a really good question of when the setup of a website is correct from the offset, and you've done all the on-site correctly and matched keywords and titles, etc., do you really need to pay for ongoing SEO in terms of on-site, and how long do you need to pay for? So I responded to Robbie, and I said it all depends if you've kind of reached your desired goal of being on the first page for your desired keywords.
Well,
but
can I even chip in here quickly, Josh? Sorry.
Okay.
There's a common. Sorry to interrupt. I wouldn't normally do that, but well, maybe I would a couple of times. But there's a common. What's the word phrase I'm looking for? Well, the knowledge out there is that once you've done SEO, you don't have to do it again. You don't have to continue paying or continue doing SEO. That's a common problem. I'm looking for a better phrase. But yes, in a nutshell, you absolutely, definitely, 100% need to continue doing SEO and wait forever, unfortunately. And I only experienced this problem just yesterday when I had someone call me, a lady that was saying, well, I was on page 1 of Google. I've been on page 1 for the last 2 years, and now I'm suddenly not on page 1. And actually, she was quite angry, and she was saying, "What's going on? How come I'm not on page 1?" And I said, "Well, do you pay for SEO? Do you do SEO?" She said, "No, but we've been on Google for 3 years, the first page." And bless her, but I was trying to say to her, "Look, well, it's great that you've been on page 1." But what Google do all the time is they update their algorithm. So problem number 1 is that Google updates their algorithm all the time. So when they do that, they might make a huge change to their algorithm, and that might change a lot of people's ranking on Google. So they made a change recently on their Google My Business algorithm, which meant that some businesses that appeared on page on the first 3 results on Google My Business were no longer appearing because they did some changes with geographic mapping and all sorts of algorithm changes, which just completely threw everything apart. But the organic results, the stuff, not the Google My Business map listings, but the actual website positions change a lot because of that algorithm alteration. They're always doing it. And the second thing is everyone wants to be on page 1 of Google. So if you're not doing SEO, then someone else is, and someone else is doing optimization, and they're slowly climbing the rankings. So if you're not doing monthly competitor analysis, then you are effectively missing out on keeping on page 1. You've got to be on top of your competition. So, for example, let me try and find something really quickly before we go into. Let me show you an example, Josh, if that's okay. We obviously have our own SEO packages. I'm not going off here. I'm just trying to answer the question as quick as I can. We have our own SEO packages, and for example, here's the local SEO package. You've got monthly structural review. So we do monthly optimization and review of all the titles, headings, URL, alt images. We do monthly on-page content review, but we do monthly regular competitor analysis, which means that we're always having to check what your competition are doing. So we have to look at everyone else on Google, page 1 and 2, and we have to, and literally it boils down to the fact that if someone adds 2 or 3 more paragraphs to their website, or if they put a new blog on their website, there's a strong chance that they can just leapfrog you on Google. And so SEO is an ongoing thing. It never stops for national or local SEO. And so let me just, so there's an example of the timeline. It's monthly and it's constant ongoing SEO that we do. And we cannot stop. Otherwise, we have had issues ourselves where a few years ago, we used to just do one-off SEO, but then people after 6 months or a year would just the rankings. I really am sorry for going into so much depth there, Josh, but it was such a thing close to my heart that we see this all the time, that people stop doing SEO. Hope that helps. Sorry, Josh, was there any other questions? Anything else you can see?
So again, Robbie's just so he's saying if you are paying monthly SEO and not achieving much, is it better to put your money into PPC? What he seems to get from monthly SEO is measuring statistics, but how does he know if anything has been done?
Yeah. I mean, happy for you to pick that one up, but I would always persist with SEO. It can take 6 months, if not a year, to get your page 1. If you can get a page 1 position, it can take up to a year to achieve that. So at least 3 months for SEO. If I was speaking to a client with SEO and that client said, I want to be on page 1 next month, I'd say, no, I don't want to take your money. I don't want to work with anyone if they have those kind of expectations, because that's the worst thing. I'd always give realistic expectations, because it's better to be honest about things. It can take 6 months, if not even 8-9 months, to get found higher on Google.
It's a competitive place, that first page. It's where everyone wants to be. There's a lot of work. What I was kind of carry on to be saying is, even if you are in the desired position of page 1, you still have, there's only 10 positions. So there's at least 10 companies. And again, this is just bare minimum. There's at least 10 of those companies who are wanting to overtake each other on page 1. Combine that with Google's algorithm changes, because they're wanting to serve relevant content. In the eyes of Google, if I was to own Google, what would I want to do? Would I want to show a website constantly over and over again for that same search term, especially when that website might have a high bounce rate? That website might not get many conversions. Google knows all of this. If I was to show that same website over and over again, but I've got websites on second or third page which are constantly updating their information with new relevant information, me as Google, I'd rather show the relevant new information to businesses. And that's why it's so important to keep your website updated and to keep on top of these search terms. SEO just isn't a one-trick pony. It doesn't just do its job and then you can leave it to it. It's the clues in the name: search engine optimization. It's optimizing your site constantly for search engines to then get found higher on Google. And even if you are at that top position, you then need to maintain that top position. If you think of it as going to the gym, I can go to the gym once, twice a year. But if I'm wanting to see results, I'm going to have to go to the gym every week, every month at least, to then start seeing proper results. It's exactly the same. A nice little analogy.
What you'll find is when you've got to take hints from the big brands. When you go to Google, I honestly can't think of one off the top of my head, but I don't know. If I type Nike into Google, for example, they have an ad. They are actually paying a lot of money to appear for the keyword Nike in the ad. At the top of Google, but they also have obviously their organic result here, the thing that's just their page, their website optimized, their organic results. But you've got to take a bit of a hint from this: is why are they paying to appear in an ad as well? You know, they're also obviously doing search engine optimization separately to all of this. You should always combine SEO with PPC. The reason for that, a good analogy is SEO is like paying a mortgage on your house. It's like owning a house. It's a long-term investment. PPC is like renting an amazing flat in the middle of London, you know, or wherever, you know, really somewhere really cool. It gets you there instantly. It gets you the good stuff instantly. Whereas with SEO, you're investing in a long-term solution. But unlike renting and owning a house, I would do both. So you need to try and dominate those search results. And there's a reason why Nike or any brand, any major brand that know what they're doing with marketing, they will always appear in the ad result and they'll always appear in the organic result. Now, they spend probably $500,000 a month on ads. For a small business, you can do the same for £100-200. It doesn't break the bank at all, but it will certainly get you so many more inquiries. And so I'd recommend both. The marketing mix is essential. So especially because on mobile phone, if you do a search on mobile phone for any local business, you'll notice that the ads dominate the first few results. The first 4 results on your mobile phone are dominated by ad results. And you can't really distinguish a difference now between ads and organic results. So just for example, the only difference now is just that little sign where it says ad there. On mobile phone, look, they all look the same to me now. You can't really distinguish them. On mobile phone, it's even harder, I think, to see the difference between ads and organic. On mobile, the ads now dominate the first 4 results. So that's why it's really important. And please do note where people click on Google. You can just search heat map Google, and you can see most people click at the top left of Google. So the first few things they see. So ad results dominate those top results on Google. So I just want to go back to what I was saying about keywords, because it's really important that we get through this bit, because you need to be able to find the right keywords for your business. So what I'm going to do is grab one of our trusty customers. We've looked at this website before. I'm just going to grab her URL. I'll come to that in a second. I'm going to get her URL, and I'm going to go to the keyword planner. So how do I get to the Google keyword planner? Well, you can simply Google it, Google keyword planner, and you'll come to this page, and you can then access the keyword planner through there. And so I'm going to show you how, we can do this for you. It's really easy for us to do this, or you can do it yourself. But there's 2 options when you get to the keyword planner. Let me show you what the keyword planner is useful for. You can discover new keywords. And I can do that by simply typing in my website address. So I start with my website address, or I could just type in a keyword. Let's try the website first. So I type in the URL, website address, and what Google does is it will show me all of the keywords that appear on my website or are related to my website. So as you can see here, it's showing me a list of different keywords. Obviously, this website is for holiday cottages in Yorkshire. What I can do now is I can filter that by average monthly searches. So I can now see what are the most popular keywords that I need to focus on based on average monthly searches. Have a look at some of these search volumes. I'm going to skip the first two because those first two are sounding very national type, whereas I'm based in Yorkshire. So I'm looking for, there we go, holiday cottages in Yorkshire gets 5.5 searches per month on Google alone. Cottages Yorkshire Dales, cottage in Yorkshire with hot tub. I mean, we're running an ad campaign for this company. I don't know if we've got that in the ad campaign. I'm sure we have, but I wouldn't have thought of that keyword. I don't know about you, Josh, but now that I've seen cottage in Yorkshire with hot tub is getting 2,500 searches a month, I would now absolutely include that in my marketing campaign or my SEO. Yeah. Would you?
Yeah, definitely. It's again, especially when you're competing against other big names as well. It's going for those keywords that are going to be converting better. So the long tail keywords, when people type in more words, cottage in Yorkshire with hot tub, that's a very specific search. If you can serve a page that shows cottage in Yorkshire with hot tub, you're on for a winner. You're showing exactly what these guys want to see.
Very, very good point, Josh. I'll give you a pack of chocolate after. I'll give you a present for that. That's the best point you've said all day. That's an amazing point. Everyone needs to take note of that. I think that is a game changer, what you've just said, because what you're saying there, Josh, is that if you pick a long tail, so what is a long tail keyword? It's where you have, you're not just going for cottages Yorkshire, right? If you're advertising or bidding or doing your SEO around cottages in Yorkshire, holiday cottages in Yorkshire, you're up against some big competition. That is a very popular keyword. Now what we've found though, within seconds, we've discovered that cottage in Yorkshire with hot tub is really popular. We didn't know about that, but it's what we call, it's a long tail, so it's a long phrase. The longer the phrase, the less competitive it is to get found for that phrase. So if you can find a phrase like find me the best plumber near me or around the corner from me, something like that, if you can get found for those kind of phrases on Google, you're onto a winner, to coin Josh's phrase there. So Josh is absolutely right. What I would say is that you should now run an ad campaign. I would instantly think about running a Google ad campaign on this particular keyword phrase, because I know it's not gonna cost me much. Because pay-per-click is a cost per click product, so the cost per click will be very low. I'm gonna guess. Well, let's have a look, because actually, wow. Here we go. Look, it's as low as 9 pence per click. 28 pence per click. So I've just seen on Google that there's only one company advertising in Google Ads for that keyword, and everything else is just organic SEO. So first of all, I'd be optimizing my website as much as I can, and then make sure I've got, as long as I've got a cottage with a hot tub. But you get the idea.
That's the point. Sorry to interrupt, but that's the key point here, is make sure it's really relevant. Now, we've had a really good question, and we get this question a lot. So if you do PPC, does it help with your ranking and possibly accelerate it with your SEO campaign? So if you think of it in a kind of a more broader way, I mean, directly, no, there's no correlation. Google haven't said that it does. But if you think about it in terms of a data point of view, if you're driving more traffic to that web page, and people are finding what they want, and they can see it's relevant content, and that you've got a long amount of time that people spend on each page, they're interacting with your site. The more that your site's interacted with and the more users use it, Google will reward you with a better position, because Google then see that it's relevant content and that people are actually interacting with your site, especially when they look at number of sites. That is an SEO ranking factor. It's one of millions of what can help with your SEO. So if you think of it in terms of you're driving more traffic, and if people are finding it relevant and using it and then inquiring, Google will reward you because of that. Yes, because it's relevant content. So in terms of directly correlates. There is Google. We ask this all the time. Does it affect my SEO? And they never say there's never a strong connection. But when you think of it outside of the box, in terms of you're driving more traffic, people are finding it more relevant, they're interacting with it, that can help with your SEO as well.
Absolutely. So all of it does have a knock-on effect, but no, treat them very separately in the first instance. SEO and PPC are very separate. SEO is a long-term plan that's never guaranteed either. This is the problem. It's just not a guaranteed solution. But I would always recommend investing in it. But with PPC or Google Ads, for example, Microsoft Ads, it is instant. And I actually brought up an example yesterday, and it's this company here. They obviously started paying a couple of £100 a month, and then went to £900 a month, and then suddenly they saw a huge return on investment. This is just one of many companies. I was going to show another example of a client, and he doesn't mind me using this as an example, but he's had 100 phone call inquiries from 258 website visitors. That's 100 phone calls from 258 visitors. And so this is real. This is just in 30 days during COVID-19. So the power of Google Ads, when done properly, can be absolutely fantastic. I mean, don't get me wrong, his budget is more than £300 a month, but the potential is there. Just to go back to the keyword planner really quickly, what it does is it shows you all of the keywords that it's found on your website, but crucially, it's telling you how many people are searching for those keywords month on month. I mean, there's another one there which I've never thought of before. Yorkshire Dales cottages, dog friendly. There's Yorkshire Dales Airbnb. Well, I would probably still run the campaign on that keyword, because I still want to get found when someone's searching for that phrase. If someone's searching Yorkshire Dales Airbnb come up, but they actually haven't got an ad coming up, so they haven't actually run it. They've not done their keyword research, funnily enough. Whether it's intentional or whether I'm just not seeing the ad at the moment, but I would certainly have an ad coming up for that search. Absolutely. So get found for these kind of searches, and your pricing might attract people. So that's how you would see the website. Yes, Josh. Sorry.
Yeah, so we've just got some really good questions coming in. Wayne's mentioned that he's on booking.com and he wants to leave them. However, at the moment, they're kind of hijacking his brand. So if you type his business name into Google, booking.com will come up first, as he has a listing with them. This is more of a specific problem, but I think it's worth highlighting. He said, I have heard rumors that businesses have left booking.com in the past, and they are still appearing in the searches under booking.com. So he's basically asking, he's concerned about using PPC, because obviously booking.com have a bigger budget for PPC, and that he's worried about his brand, because that's his branding. I mean, what would you say around that, Matt?
The branding bit, I think, if you ever think about that, Josh, I'll come back to that. But there's nothing to worry about with PPC ever, and the reason being is because it's pay per click. There's almost no risk attached to it, and I would recommend everyone to run a pay per click campaign on Christmas Day. That's how low risk it is. The reason why I'm saying that as an extreme example here is because if you run a PPC campaign on Christmas Day, Boxing Day, yes, the search volume drops. I know this is not related to the question. I'm just giving you an example of why it's always safe to run a PPC campaign. It's pay per click. So even if there's just 5 people in one day searching for I don't know, leather boots or holiday cottages, even in the whole UK. If you're there and you get that click, it's a relevant click. That person has intent. They've got intent. They want to look at the type of service that you offer. So there is that intent already there. So pay per click, they'll click on your ad, and yes, it will cost money, but that's been a relevant click. And it doesn't matter. I would have a pay-per-click running all year round. And if anyone's not had a pay-per-click running during this period, I mean, I understand firstly why, cash is an issue, but it's one of those products and solutions that you will get business from even when the search volume's low or even when there's big competitors. So Booking.com, Amazon, Airbnb, whatever it may be, forget those guys. If your campaign is set up with the right keywords and you've got conversion tracking all added in there, then it's win-win. There's no real competition because it is pay per click. And if no one clicks on your ad, it doesn't cost you any money.
I think people are aware as well. Obviously, everyone knows that Booking.com and Airbnb will come up in those searches. I know it when I do those searches. If Booking.com are doing some legwork for you and helping with your brand, I see that as a good thing because again, you look more reputable, first of all. And then second of all, if they're ranking as well with you, it just coincides with your brand. Your branding and getting your name out there is never going to hurt your business, no matter who's doing it and no matter where it's coming from, because it's always branding. It's always your business. People are interested in you, and if people are typing in your brand name, they already know of you anyway. It's the keywords in terms of for using PPC, especially on the lower budgets. It's the keywords that people don't know of your brand yet. That's where you're going to see the results. Like, for instance, Matt showed a really good example of Nike, for instance. They're able to run a brand campaign because they know people know themselves and it takes up more real estate. Whereas for a smaller budget, there's no point really running a branding campaign like that until you have a bigger budget, because the majority of your budget will want to go on, for instance, holiday apartments or luxury holiday apartments, or as we typed in earlier, running shoes. Exactly, perfect. Those are the key words that you're wanting to get found for, because they're people who don't know of your brand yet.
Now, obviously, you've got some big competition, some big names, Sports Direct, Under Armour. So that's where keyword research, like what we were just looking at, we found a keyword within 3 seconds, holiday cottages with hot tubs in Yorkshire. Now, the big brands might have overlooked that particular keyword. And now if we're found for that keyword, holiday cottages with hot tubs, North Yorkshire, whatever it may be. I know I'm spelling that wrong. But if we're found where there's no other ads, but if we get found for that keyword, and we'll get clicked on, right? Yeah. Because on mobile phone, the ad comes up at the top. On desktop, it comes up at the top. We'll certainly get clicked on. And it's more likely that we'll get a booking. Because if someone's searching holiday cottages with hot tubs, North Yorkshire, there is really strong intent. They know specifically they've got what they want, and there's that intent is stronger. So you could look at this as an intent level. If someone searches builders leads, maybe they're just looking, maybe they're just researching, maybe the intent is lower. If someone's searching the best loft conversion specialist in Leeds, that intent is higher, it's red hot. And that's a kind of keyword. That's why you want to be bidding and getting found for those keywords, because the conversion rates are higher. So the longer the phrase, the less competitive the phrase, the less obvious the phrase, the higher the conversion rates. And that's kind of where it would come in for any of you guys, in terms of doing these kind of things. Of course, we just looked at doing it with a website. So you type your URL, but I'm just going to show you, if I start with a keyword instead. So let's just say I sell boots, leather boots. I'm going to type in that keyword into the keyword planner. And again, what it shows me is a list of keywords. There's my keyword I typed in, leather boots, and there's 8,000 searches a month. And I'm going to now, again, click on that to filter the average monthly searches. And now I can see that knee-high boots get 74,000 searches. Now I can go down and I can find some of these really interesting phrases, and I can maybe focus in on some of these. Chelsea boots, black. You look, if I'm selling women's wear, then women's boots, and this is obviously really useful for me. I can start to see which terms are getting the most searches. And then there's a new thing that Google have launched, and it's refined keywords. And I can actually now filter out, let's say I want to get rid of the men's and kids and just leave women's. And I also want to get rid of brands as well. And I can do that, and it will show me what's left on Google. It will show me the remaining results in here. I know some of them look similar, but it's now taken out all of the brands and all of them. So there's some really cool things you can do there. And that's the keyword plan. That's the power of doing a bit more research and planning things. So choosing your goal, choosing your keywords. And whenever you do any marketing, make sure you measure conversions. And of course, when we do a campaign for anyone, we always measure conversions where we can. Sometimes it's absolutely not possible, but where we can, we'll always measure conversions. So what we mean by measuring conversions is tracking the number of phone call inquiries that you get from a campaign. So that's the kind of thing I'm referring to. Okay, so just on the note of Google, for example, let's focus in on Google a little bit more here. All we talked about there is Google search, the search results on Google. Well, we'd advise not just running a search, not just getting found on the search results on Google. You also should be getting found in their display ads. And if you do e-commerce, shopping ads, you've got YouTube and you've got app ads. So basically, Google Ads is a family of different types of ads. So within the Google Ads family, you've got search ads, you've got display, shopping, YouTube, app. The most popular and biggest ones are the top three there: search ads, display, and shopping. And shopping only applies if you're an e-commerce business, so if you sell online. So let's just focusing on search and display. But with the whole PPC model that I've been talking about, it's so good because you can set your budget and you can set a cap. Budget can be anything from £50, like I say, to £50,000. The more budget you put in, the more inquiries you get. So if you wanted my personal advice, if you were doing this yourself, I would always recommend £300, £500 a month. I know that sounds like a lot, but typically we would always see a return on investment on that. In almost all situations, we see a return. So that £500 you put in, you're very, very likely to see a return on that. So it's almost a win-win. It's what they call a no-brainer, I suppose. It just depends on how much return, the quality of your campaign, the quality of your keywords, and your ads. It all depends. And if you manage to do a good campaign, you'll get a stronger return. But the more you put in, the more you get out of it. It's really flexible as well. So it's the thing with Google Ads and Microsoft Ads, you can stop and start it when you want, and you're only paying for results. And now this isn't a pitch or a you should do Google Ads with InfoServe. No. You can do Google Ads yourself. These are all things that you can do yourself. What I'm saying to you, the reason why I'm telling you this stuff is because it is genuinely the most powerful and quickest way to turn a business around, to grow a business, and to get actual inquiries and leads. And it is so flexible and so safe and low risk. And so we've been looking at search ads, where you choose your goal, you get found, you can get found for thousands of keywords. So with SEO, you only get found for maybe 1 to 3 or at most 5 keywords, because you can only really optimize your website around at most 5 keywords, I'd say. With Google Ads, you can get found for all these different types of variations. So spelling mistakes, near me, the best, plumber, whatever it may be, you can get found, and it's all just done automatically and easy. And oh, sorry, bear with me. Let me just go through these screens. Yeah, the thing that you can do with Google Ads, this is what I wanted to highlight, is you can choose a radius as well. So you can choose a radius of from 1 mile to 15, 20 miles around you, or you could even go national, or you could choose multiple locations. So it's really flexible, is what I'm saying. The budget, whatever you put in is whatever you get out. So it's really, really flexible. You can adjust that budget at any time. So really, really easy. And obviously you can measure results really easily. So you can see all your website visits, you can see your ad views. It's really good for tracking results. But what I wanted to highlight as well is the shopping ads on Shopify. If you're an e-commerce business, you can put your products on Google directly on the search results. And I'm sure, and this is the same as Google search in terms of you pay per click. The budget's down to you. It's really flexible. But Google Ads shopping is something I'd recommend for any e-commerce business. However, display ads are so powerful, and I think many of you guys in here today are probably missing out on this opportunity. Display ads, it is brilliant for your business and brand awareness, but the best thing about it is you can target people. Okay, so your ads won't appear, these display ads don't appear in the search results on Google. They appear on websites, basically on relevant websites. So I think we showed an example, didn't we, Josh, the other day? Let me just bring up your example. You're a techie guy and you like to browse this website. It's like an Apple website.
It's an Apple fanboy website. All news and everything to do with Apple, and
okay,
I'm all over it.
So this is a really good website for someone like you.
That's perfect, actually. What were you just typing in? You were searching for leather products?
Yeah, that's related. That's definitely related. I mean, it's not a boot, but it's definitely related to the leather side. And that's basically, it's a good example. But actually, that looks like quite a nice case for a phone. But there's a display ad. That's basically what we're talking about when we say display ad. That is a Google display ad. Now, notice that this is an ad for a product that is good for a mobile phone, a Google Pixel phone, tech, basically. So Josh is into tech, as am I. We might be keen on that product. And there's another one there. It's kind of, something that would appeal to us kind of techie type people. But that's a really good example of a Google display ad. When you set up a Google display ad, when you create it, you can choose your audience. You can actually choose an audience. And here we go. For example, you can choose what type of people you want to target by interest and affiliation. So, for example, if I'm an interior design business, or home furnishings, I would target home style websites, interior websites, lifestyle websites, furniture websites, and I can do that with Google Display. I just want that to sink in for a moment, because what I'm saying is with Google Ads, you can target people by their interest. How on earth did Google do that? Well, Google has been tracking our internet activity for years, and it knows a lot about you and I, unfortunately. But the good news is they don't care about you and I specifically. What they're doing is they're using it for what they call big data. And so if businesses like you want to run a campaign on Google, you can use that big data and you can target consumers that might be interested in the services that you offer. So Google Ads Display allows you to target people who are potentially already interested and already into the things that you offer. And you can target age, you can target, like I say, interests and affiliations and all sorts of things. It is really, really powerful audience targeting. That's Google Ads display ads. And that's why you will often see relevant ads depending on the website that you're looking at. It is so powerful. Okay. I'm not going to talk about YouTube ads, but with YouTube ads, you can do the same sort of audience targeting. I'm just going to highlight that conversion tracking thing before we go, because it is important that whatever you do track conversions. Because why is it important? Because you cannot optimize or work on a campaign unless you know what's working. As simple as that. So, for this example here, this chap's getting 101 phone calls a month at least. Now, I imagine if I go 3 months, it would probably have 300-400, maybe 500 phone calls. So that's a lot for just £330. But I need to know, our team need to know what those, how those phone calls are happening and what keywords people are typing in to get to those phone calls. So, for example, this is a vet, so it's obviously slightly different type of business, but we can see what type of keywords are getting typed in, and then we can see which keywords get the phone calls. So which of these keywords lead to those phone calls that I was showing you before. So it's really important to for us to track those phone calls, because and what you can do is then see which keywords are leading to those phone calls. So what are people typing into Google? They then click on your ad and they go to your website and then they pick up the phone. Which keywords were those? And then what we would do, and what you should do, is then put more effort into those keywords. You put more of your budget into the keywords that are working and less of the budget into the keywords that aren't working. That's called Google Ads optimization, PPC optimization. And I would never, ever overlook Bing, because Bing is almost as powerful as Google. The reason why I say it's almost as powerful, the audience on Bing is so high quality. Many people that use Bing seem to lead to more conversions. The audience is more affluent than Google. The audience is more mature than Google. Yes, there's a lot fewer people using Bing, a lot less people, but there is still 20% plus 20% of the UK is still using Bing or using Bing actively, and that's because of Windows, because of all those Microsoft devices. But the audience on Bing is really high quality. So if you're running a campaign, you've got to consider Bing as well. But yeah, I just want to go to another search on Google before we go. Let me just have a look. Okay. All right. So here's a good example. I've gone and typed in a search term on Google, and we run a campaign for, you've seen already, Yorkshire Skates. We run 1,000+ campaigns, but this is one of them, and they're appearing at the bottom of the page. That's okay. That's absolutely fine. Position doesn't necessarily matter when it comes to pay-per-click. It is pay-per-click, remember. So if no one's clicking on the ad, it doesn't cost any money. The ads never stay in the same position. No. 1 minute it'll be at the top, the next minute it might be at the bottom, or even on page 2. That's okay. Don't get hung up over where your ad appears on Google. What you need to make sure you're getting focused on is how many phone calls and conversions you're getting. Not where it is on Google. It's all about the conversions, because that's ultimately what's important to you. In actual fact, position 3 on Google is one of the most cost-effective positions you can have. They still get lots of clicks, but the cost per click is a lot lower than appearing at position 1. So whoever's here is probably in the sweet spot right now. Our ad will be there at some point today, no doubt, but just the one above is the sweet spot. But anything below position 2 is really good. But I want to highlight how this ad is written. Please take note of how each letter at the first letter of every word has capital letters, even the I on the in. Every letter has got a capital on it, on the beginning of each word. That is what I was talking about yesterday. And there's a prime example of this. Creates more conversions, more click-throughs, so more people would click on that ad. This is an example of how not to do it. This is an ad as well, and they haven't used all the available space. This is nothing. This is just part of Google. But notice how much space this ad has compared to this ad that we've done. Well, there we go. These are 2 examples I've got, but that's a really poor ad. Not using all the space. We have used all the space, and we've got a longer piece of text in here. But not only that, but we're using something called ad extensions. So when you're setting up a campaign, or if someone's doing a campaign for you, make sure they're using ad extensions. Ad extensions are these things you see here. These are site ad extensions. So these are site link extensions. And these are things that you can add to your campaign. And it takes up more space, as you can see in the position, as what Google call the real estate. But these are what we call site link extensions. So if I was to click on the main headline, that would go straight through to the landing page on the website. But then there's some other links here that I can click on that go straight through to other pages on the website. Not only that, but we're using something called structured snippets or ad extensions again. It's where you can highlight your unique selling points, and we've done it here. Note how they haven't done that. They haven't really highlighted all of their unique selling points and all of the information about the business. We're using ad extensions to highlight the unique selling points and the other sites on the web, site links on the website. So ad extensions are a great way of highlighting more about your business and taking up more space on the page. And there's a very good example of a well-written ad and a poorly written ad. This ad will get more clicks. It is as simple as that. The ads that are using ad extensions get more clicks and ultimately get more conversions. Okay, so this is really just an introduction to Google Ads. There's more that we want to go through in terms of helping you get set up on Google Ads, helping you walking it through with you a little bit more. We want to go into more depth with you next week, and we've got a special guest coming on next week. He's the head of our Google Ads and Microsoft team. He'll be joining us next week to help us all out with a bit more, showing you how to do it yourself and showing you how to do things on your computer. So I really hope some of that was useful, or at least kind of brought some awareness. I'm giving you my personal recommendations and best advice. You can take it away and implement it however you want. But my biggest advice would be to set up a PPC campaign, to run a campaign on Google and Microsoft. If you want help doing that, we can do that for you at the moment. And we've got a really low cost setup available for you at the moment. If you want to take advantage of that, we can help you out. We'd love to help you out, but we don't expect many of you to reach out. But if you do want to reach out, then please do go to infoserve.com/support. And I'll just put that at the top of the chat if anyone's forgotten that link. So it's infoserve.com/ and request a one-to-one. And if you just request a one-to-one and just mention that, PPC, we'll help you out and see what we can do. But we have some really good offers on it, don't we, I think, at the moment, Josh? Oh, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
He's
yes,
just confirming we do. Okay, so before you go, I'm just going to say, guys, quick reminder. Well, Josh is going to answer a couple of questions now, just before we go, if that's okay. So if you want to hang around and listen to some of those questions get answered from small businesses, we're going to do that now. But if you need to jump off, we completely understand. We're back on Monday at 11 a.m. and we've got some really good stuff. We're ramping this up next week. We've got some really great stuff to go through from Monday. So see you at 11 a.m. Monday. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate your time, and we really hope this is useful for you. That's all we're hoping for here. But Josh, should we just try and answer some questions? And if everyone wants to hang around to see if there's any good answers in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I've been answering them as we've been going along. I've been trying to keep on top of them as much as possible. We had some really good questions, though, that I kind of wanted to talk about. So, I mean, we have seen, for instance, we get this quite a lot. How long would you recommend running a PPC campaign for? Would you recommend only doing it for 1 to 2 months? I responded and I said I'd always recommend 3 months plus, purely because, again, it's finding out what works well for your website. We can, obviously, with us doing it for the past 20 odd years, we know a lot of your industry and how campaigns should be run in your industry. But every website's different. Every website needs tweaking. Every campaign needs tweaking to suit your website, and especially in the first couple of months, it's finding out what keywords are converting well for your website, and then running with that. I mean, the best campaigns we've seen, Matt, would you agree, are the longer running campaigns that have a healthy budget? Because you're able to optimize a lot more, aren't you?
It certainly takes at least 2 months. The reason why it takes 2 months, I wish I had a visual to explain it, but the first month is all about running it on as many keywords as you can. So like fishing, let's say, you spread the net wide and far and you get found for as many keywords obviously relevant for your business, but you spread it far and wide. So for example, if I'm a holiday cottage in Scotland, in a tiny town in Scotland, I wouldn't be getting found for holiday cottages in that town. I'd be getting found for accommodation Scotland, plus all of the other keywords below that. So I'd really cast the net wide and get a broad kind of idea of keywords. And then what we do every day and every week is we look at which keywords are working well. And you've got to do this. You've got to look at which keywords are getting you more traffic and conversions. That's why conversion tracking is important, because traffic is one thing, clicks is one thing, but what's more important than clicks is actual phone calls and inquiries. And that's why you need to be able to track where your phone calls and inquiries are coming from, which keywords. And over the month to 2 months, you start to remove keywords. It's called keyword optimization. You start to remove those keywords from the campaign. But that will take at least a month, because you've got to give it a month to analyze the data. And then in the second month, you're using that information, that intelligence to remove the keywords. And then in the second and third month, you've got almost a brand new, fresh campaign, really refined. So in the third month, you've got the most refined campaign you can have. In that third month, you'll get higher quality conversions, because more of your budget's now going into a more refined set of keywords. But you have to go through all of that journey. And that is exactly how Google. So we speak to the Google Ads guy at Google. He is he's probably one of the most intelligent guys I've ever come across. Yeah. He knows everything. And I said to him, why don't you just pick a few keywords at first rather than all? He said, no. You need to have as many keywords as you can, because you are looking to discover new keywords in that first and second month. Someone might have phoned you from a keyword that you would never have thought of. So a dark grey brick holiday cottage in the Isle of Man. It's a stupid example, but what I'm saying is there's a keyword in there that you didn't know about, that you've had a phone call from, and that has highlighted to you an opportunity. So Google really advised to this whole process of 3 months, and because it helps you discover, learn, and get together some big data. And then in the third month, you've got a really refined campaign that's working hopefully extraordinarily well. So we would always say 3 months, but we know a lot of companies that tie people in for 6 or 12 months. That we don't think that's right. 3 months is gentleman's agreement, a sort of thing, but 6-12 months, there's no need to tie someone in. It really is just a monthly thing. After 3 months, it is purely monthly, to answer that question.
Perfect. Vince asked, are there preferred systems of adding the keywords, including negative keywords? Now, Matt's shown you the Google Keyword Planner. So that's very useful in discovering new keywords, especially in your location. It will tell you the search volume, and it will tell you, in terms of search traffic and volume, it will tell you what the good keywords are to get found for. You can run your website through it, and it will discover new keywords. Now, with negative keywords, it also comes down to a little bit of experience as well, of knowing what kind of negative keywords to put in. There isn't like a list anywhere of negative keywords that you just put in, because it really is dependent on each website and industry. Again, this is the reason why we always kind of recommend 3 months plus as well, is because it takes, there's a bit of testing involved as well in terms of what keywords actually convert better. We can look at the insights, we can look at all the data that we have over the past 20 years, and that puts us in the right guideline, and we can learn from obviously what we've done in the past. But when it comes down to running a campaign, it is very much so looking at your current website and seeing and figuring out what works with that particular site. Every site's different. Every site has a different call to action, different headings, all sorts, and it's all down to relevancy as well. It's making sure Google want relevant content first of all. That's it. They really do. And it's making sure that you nail that on the head. Perfect example earlier, Matt, was holiday cottages with a hot tub. That's very niche. That's very specific. If you then show them a web page which says holiday cottages with a hot tub, then you're more than likely to get that inquiry. If not, then at a later date, definitely.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Someone asked, do they need to put capital letters on their website as well? In the first word of each, first letter of each word on the website. No, that doesn't matter so much. But actually, we sometimes do it because we know that can help with click-throughs or conversions on ads. So maybe that same thinking can apply on the website.
It's
as well.
making it stand out as. Sorry. It's making it stand out as much as possible, isn't it? From every other search listing that appears.
Yeah, it can help it stand out, but you don't have to. It's just one of those things. We're going to do an online businesses that do e-commerce. We've got more focus on e-commerce next week, and for those online only businesses, that's a little bit more next week. So can you Josh, I'll let you pick up any final questions in the chat. I think my takeaway from this, guys, is make sure you're working out which keywords are right for your business. So before you do any marketing or before you do any pay for any, it's important to know which keywords are going to work. And any great agency will do that keyword research for you. But you can do that yourself as well. Also, what is your goal? What do you want to get more of? What kind of inquiry do you want to get more of as well? Focus in on that kind of particular job. Focus in on that goal and do everything around that goal. So if you're running an ads campaign, for example, and you want to get more commercial work in, so you do a lot of domestic work, but you want commercial, then focus everything, all of that budget on commercial. The more you can put into a singular area of your business, the better it will perform. So instead of spreading your budget over lots and lots of different categories of your business and areas of your business, try to hone in on one or two areas of the business, because the more budget you put into that, the better, like I say, the more you'll get out of it. And obviously always remember to track your conversions. So use call tracking, use form fill, get analytics, Google Analytics set up on your website. And if you need any help with that, just reach out to us and put it in the message box what you're looking for, and we'll definitely try and help out for you. But on that note, I think we'll let you all go outside now. Some of you may be watching this outside in your back garden, and if you are, I am jealous. You're very lucky. So we're going to head outside, do a bit of work in the garden. I think now we deserve it, but we wish everyone a lovely weekend, and we really, really sincerely hope this has helped. Even in the smallest of ways, we really hope this is helping everyone. I need a coffee. I'm getting my words all mixed up. I haven't had a coffee today, so it's time for that. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. Hopefully the weather stays nice. And we will catch you all on Monday at 11 a.m. But we're still here and we're still working till 5:30, 6 o'clock today. I'll be online as well a little bit tomorrow because, what else is there to do at the moment? So even if you want to get in touch tomorrow or over the weekend, I'm usually online. I'm a bit of a workaholic and I can't help myself. So I might actually be able to pick up some of your messages over the weekend. So if you can't have the time today to fill out the support form on that link at the top, I will be able to handle a couple of inquiries over the weekend as well. So have fun, have a good weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you.